in the world of commercial real estate finance or investing, what's our universe look like? And I always joke, you're at a networking event, you're at a party, you're at a dinner, and people say, what do you do? I'm in real estate. Okay, what do you do? Right? Those of us in the industry, we know it's a multi-trillion dollar industry. You got to dig a little deeper than just to say you're in real estate. And so I always think of this, and usually when I teach graduate school, I start here because people don't often realize what's involved in working on an individual real estate deal. It touches so many aspects of the economy. Matter of fact, I once saw a graph and a chart that kind of mapped the performance of GDP in the US to the stock prices of the major mortgage lenders in the US, and it almost tracked equivalent. As the lenders went, so too the economy went. And it's just a great, great representation of how real estate, both commercial and residential, is absolutely so fundamental as one of the major backbones to the entire US economy. And this kind of explains it. The first thing I want to start is what's at the center? What drives everything else? Now, I've already filled it in for you and I put the deal in here, and I probably should have left it empty and made us figure it out on this. Everybody likes to think they're at the center, but I can promise you, to me, the center of the wheel is either your equity, the capital, and I might put that together with the borrower, or it's the deal, right? The deal is what makes everything go around and why, and that's the center part. Without this, nothing happens. But once you have a transaction that's going to occur, all this comes into play. And so let's just look at it. Obviously, you have capital sources, and I've separated them out here a little bit. You have lenders and you have equity investors. Without money, nothing's really going to happen. There's so much capital. It's so capital intensive. You need the financial sources to be involved. Sales brokers. Somebody most likely is involved with the buying and selling of the property. That's what we call the sales brokers. In residential, we call them realtors. In commercial, you might even call them wholesalers. In commercial, we tend to call them investment sales professionals. And that always gets confusing because in Wall Street in New York City, investment sales professionals can be something very different. It can be like institutional sales professionals. Here they call them investment sales, i.e. it's an investment property. So they're investment sales professionals. I think they do that just to get away from the word realtor or sales broker. Mortgage broker, we all know what that is. Again, in commercial real estate, we call them mortgage brokers, commercial mortgage brokers, commercial real estate mortgage brokers. You just got to be careful you don't call them a commercial loan officer. Because to me, a commercial loan officer or a commercial broker means something different. There are commercial loans, just flat out business loans, nothing to do with real estate, right? Many different businesses need a commercial loan. So I always like to make that distinction and make sure we're talking about a commercial loan officer, a commercial real estate loan officer, or a commercial real estate mortgage broker. I would also lump in here all the residential guys. So residential mortgage loan officer, LO, whatever term you want, a branch manager, all that gets lumped into here. And again, I think those are different terminologies. I found it always very confusing as you're moving between residential primary and commercial real estate. The difference in what's the word broker mean? The word broker means something very different on the residential side than it does on commercial. On the residential side, it usually means the brokerage, the company that holds the residential mortgage brokerage license. The individual, what I think of the individual broker is actually called a loan officer or a mortgage loan officer or just a residential mortgage loan officer. On commercial real estate, we don't use the term loan officer. It's a mortgage broker or just a financial mortgage broker. So anyways, moving right along, we talked about equity investors a little bit. Attorneys, again, the attorneys are going to get involved in the deal at some point. The accountant may or may not be involved that much. If it's a 1031 exchange, they're going to be involved. If you need a PFS statement, they're going to be involved. There might be some structuring that needs to be done on the borrower side. So the accountants get involved. And then you always have the what I call the third-party reports. You have your engineers and your property condition assessment reports. The engineers could get called in to help with mechanical systems. It was always taught to me once. I remember I went to a kind of what I call a mini conference about real estate, and one of the subsections, like kind of classes that I stepped into, was about third-party reports, and they were saying, don't hire a PCA company, like don't hire a professional company that comes out and makes these reports. They were saying, go into the local industry, whatever town you're in, whatever city you're in. If you want to take a deeper dive of the boiler systems, don't rely on the PCA report. They were saying, go find an actual engineer. Go find one of the people who actually does the repairs on boilers the guys that you would call at 2 o'clock in the morning, have them come out and let them tell you about the condition of your boilers or HVAC or your electrical systems, whatever it may be. But just continuing on the thought of the third-party reports, I'm going to have my PCA report, I'm going to have my appraisal, my title report, and my closing agent. They're going to need to get involved. My architect and my designers, either exterior architect. Sometimes you want to buy a property and the borrower wants to make improvements to that property. They might make improvements to the facade, to the outside. Maybe they want to add some decorative features to modernize the property or to repair it. Sometimes you want to add on, I'm not going to say an addition, you don't really see that, but you might find that you have room in the land and you want to put in car sheds or storage facilities so you could rent those out a little bit. And so you might need an architect for that, or an interior designer. You want to make renovations to the lobby. You're thinking of redesigning the interior units. I mean, I've seen designers come in once. We were going to renovate kitchens, and we didn't want to spend the money. It wasn't the kind of property where we thought we could get $100 or $200 increase in rent. Like maybe if we tweak it, we could push rents $10, $15, $25. Therefore, we didn't want to spend a lot of money. So we brought in a designer who was helping with a lot of different things on that property and that acquisition. And they simply said, listen, the cabinets are in good condition. I'm talking the kitchen. So the kitchen cabinets are in good condition. Why don't we just change out the handles and the knobs? And she did that. We happened to be a female designer. She did that, and it dramatically modernized and changed the whole look and feel of the kitchen. Just the knobs. So a good designer could be worth the weight in gold. Insurance brokers, again, obviously there might be different types of insurance related to liability insurance and E&O insurance. That's for your business or the borrower's business. In this case, I'm talking about insurance brokers for property insurance or hurricane insurance, whatever's going to be needed on the deal or the property itself. And then finally, let's not forget, I don't know what that's doing there. I think that was an S. Builders or general contractors. Again, any number of different things that you need to do on the property from literally doing construction or renovations to lighter types of work to, significantly renovating the interiors. You're going to need some kind of builder or general contractor to help you. The magic wheel, the real estate wheel of life. And it's just a good representation to remember those of us in the business. One of the reasons I know I like the business is because no day's the same, because there's just so many different people that you're interacting with on every different deal. And if you're working on 4, 5, 6 deals at a time, which hopefully you will be, or already are, then your life is hectic and busy. So you ought to click down below and go to the Academy, the 8CAP Academy, and look at the time management video to get control of your day. Otherwise, this is what happens to you. And this just becomes a crazy mess very quickly. And I guess it keeps life interesting. It keeps the job exciting. So good luck with maintaining order and getting your deals closed.